everyone, I hope you are doing well. Myself Kuhu Sarkar, and today in this video I am going to talk about Han Kang. I hope you had already know that who is Han Kang. Han Kang is the 2024 Nobel Prize winner in literature. And when the announcement was held, it was said that she was given the prize for her intense poetic prose that confronts the historical traumas and exposes the fragility of human life. And this announcement was held on 10th October 2024. So here is the picture, here is the illustration of Han Kang by Nicholas Elmhead. She is the Nobel Prize winner in literature of 2024. So let's know more about her. And it was announced by Swedish Academy in Stockholm, Sweden on 10th October 2024 and will be awarded on 10th November 2024. She is the first South Korean and first Asian no female Nobel laureate in literature. So please note it down that she is the first South Korean and first Asian female Nobel laureate in literature. Here is another picture of her, and let's know more about her. Han Kang grew up with a literary background in Seoul, and her father, Han Seong-on, being a reputed novelist. Alongside her passion in writing, she spends time exploring arts and music, which reflects throughout her entire life literary production. And she started her career in 1993 with the publication of her poems in literary magazine Literature and Society. So she is now 53, and when they call her, she was serving dinner to her son, and she is such a simple person, and she said that she write because she like writing, and she start her career in 45 maybe, and she is now 53 and she won the Nobel Prize. Okay, she is such a simple person. And so she had her first debut prose in 1995 with the short story collection Love of Yusu. Her major breakthrough came with 2007 novel The Vegetarian. So Vegetarian, for this novel she got the Man Booker Prize, and this is the most important work of her, and I took the summary from Wikipedia and I will read it out. So this book portrays the violent consequence that ensue when its protagonist suddenly begins to refuse to eat meat. Her experimental and often disturbing stories are characterized by a double exposure of pain and correspondence between mental and physical torment, confronting historical traumas and invisible sets of rules and fragility of human life. Among her other well-known works include Human Acts, The White Book, Greek Lesson, and We Do Not Part. Okay, so let's see her most important work, which is The Vegetarian, and you can note down the Korean version of the title because sometimes in UGC net exam they can ask. Okay, so there are three parts, and it was translated by Deborah Smith, and most of her works are translated by Deborah Smith. So it is based on her own story, which is own short story, which is The Fruit of My Own. So in this story, when I read about the work, I saw that Han Kang, he was she was inspired by a scholar who wrote that man can be a plant. If man can be a plant, it will be better. So from this, he took the idea, and at the end of the novel, you can see the protagonist think about herself that she is a plant, and in the she also inspired from her own writing The Fruit of My Women. There also the protagonist became plant. Okay, so in this novel you can see the protagonist think herself as a plant. So the vegetarian is said modern day Seoul and tells the story Young Hai, a part-time graphic artist and homemaker, whose decision to stop eating meat after bloody nightmare about human cruelty leads to devastating consequences in personal and familiar life. The Vegetarian is first novel to be translated into English by British translator Deborah Smith, and as I tell you that most of her work are translated by Deborah Smith. And it was published in 2015, and it got the the Man Booker International Prize in 2016. So this novel had three parts, and which are they? The Vegetarian, Mongolian Mark, and Flaming Trees. First part was told by Young Hai's husband, who is Mr. Cheon. Second part, her brother-in-law, who is her sister's husband, and third part told by her sister herself. Okay, so in the first part we see that Mr. Cheon considers his wife to be completely unremarkable in any way. He explains that when he first met her, he was not attracted to her, and that suits him just fine. Mr. Chian is content meandering through life. It seems that as if his only goal is to live a conventional, unremarkable life, and he chooses to marry his wife since he thinks that she would prove to be a good and beautiful wife who would fit nicely into a kind of lifestyle he seeks. So he is, you can say, a traditional conventional man who only marry because he thinks that his wife can be a beautiful wife, would be a beautiful wife, a good beautiful wife. After several years of relatively normal marriage, Mr. Cheong wakes up to find his wife disposing all the meat products in the house. She demands explanation, and Young Hai replies falsely that I had a dream. Mr. Cheong attempts to rationalize his wife's life decision over the next few months to deal with vegetarian meals at home, but he saw that Young Hai gradually start eating less and continues get thinner. He eventually calls Young Hai's family and intervention schedule. While around the dinner table, Young Hai's family attempts to convince her to eat meat. Her father, who served in Vietnam and is known for his stern temperament, slaps her when she refuses. Her father asks a reluctant Mr. Chian and Young Hai's brother Young Ho to hold her arms, and he forces her a piece of pork. Young Hayes breaks away and spits out the pork and grabs a fruit knife and slits her wrist. The incredulous family rushes her to hospital, and she recovers, and where Mr. Cheng admits to himself that she has become mentally unstable. As the section ends, Young Hai manages to walk out of the hospital, and when she is tracked down, she reveals a bird in her palm, and which has predators bite in it, and she asks that have I done something wrong. So in the first part we see that how Young Hai's family try to force her to eat meat, but she refuses, and she was taken to the hospital because she cut her wrist. At the second part we see that Mongolian, which is Mongolian Mark, the husband of Young Hai's sister In Hai, whose name remained unstated. Okay, so the husband's name unstated here. He is a video artist, and he imagines a love making scene between two people with their bodies decorated by painted flowers, and upon learning that Young has a Mongolian spot birthmark shaped like a flower petal, he forms a plan to paint and record it in order to bring the artistic image to life. It is revealed that he is attracted to Young Hai, especially after checking on her. The narrator reveals Young Hai has been served a divorce paper by Mr. Cheong, and finding her unabashedly naked in her apartment. Young Hai agrees to model him, and he paints flower across her body and a studio rented from an art professor in the area. He follows up this project with the second piece of art, which involves recruiting a fellow artist to join Young Hai's in a sexually explicit film. So her brother-in-law, who is a video artist, he saw that Young Hai has a Mongolian mark in her body, and he became attracted to her, and he told some of his friends to be a sexual partner, and so that he can click a video. Okay. And he told him that to engage in a sexual intercourse with her, so that he can took the video clip. But his friend refuses, and he became uneasy, and he left. When he left, his brother-in-law, young Hai's brother-in-law, and engaged in a sexual relationship, a sexual intercourse, so that they can took the moment in recorded order. Okay. So when brother-in-law asked if the two will engage in actual intercourse, his friend becomes ashamed and leaves, and young Hais, who had become aroused during the sequence, claims it was because the flowers painted on the man's body. The brother-in-law asks a friend to paint flowers on him, and visits Young Hai, where the two engaged in a recorded moment of intercourse. When his wife discovers, when Young Hai's sister discovers the film, she calls emergency services, and claiming that both he and Young Hai are mentally unstable, and he contemplates jumping of the balcony, and most likely to his death, and but remains rooted to the spot, and is escorted out of the building by the authorities. Okay. At the third part, and the last part of the novel, we see that, which is flaming trees. And here we can see that the protagonist started thinking herself as a plant. Inhai remains the only one. Inhai, who is Inhai? Inhai is the sister of Young Hai. So Inhai remains the only member who supports Young Hai. Supports Young Hai after her mental and physical decline. She has separated from her husband after the event of previous section, and is left to take care of their son in addition to the deteriorating sister. As Young Hai's behavior worsened, and she admitted to mental hospital at Mount Chukenseong, where despite receiving high level of treatment for anorexia nervosa and schizophrenia, she becomes gradually more like a plant. And on one occasion, she escapes the hospital and found standing in a forest soaked with rains, if herself were one of the glistening trees. Inhai, who constantly ruminates around about the pain of dealing with her divorce and care of her child, who throughout the chapter shows sign of her own depression and mental instability, visits Young Hai regularly and continues to try to get her to eat. But Young Hai has given up food altogether, and when Young Hai witnessed the doctors forcing feeding her, threatening sedation to prevent vomiting, Inhai bites the nurse, and nurse holding her back, and grabs her sister. Inhai and Young Hai are driven to a different hospital by ambulance, and Inhai observes trees as they pass by, which is a hint at the possible inheritance of similar vegetable which affects as her as well. Vegetal psyche, which affects her as well. So that is the end of the story. And let's see the next novel, which is Human Acts, and it is also a South Korean novel written by Kang. The novel draws upon the democratization uprising that occurred on May 18th, 1980 in Gonzuku, Korea. In the novel, the boy's death provides the impetus for a dimensional look in Gonzagu uprising and lives of the people in that city. Human X won Korea's Manhia Prize for Literature and Italy's Premio Malaparte. So in this plot you can see that it deals with the May 1980s Guangzhou uprising and the death of the young Kang Dong Ho. Okay, let's see the next work of her, which is The White Book, which was published in 2016, and it was also shortlisted for Man Booker Prize. Okay, and it was also translated by Deborah Smith. The setting is in post World War II, Warsaw, Poland. The book has been described as a fragmented autobiographical meditation on the death of unnamed narrator's baby sister, who died 2 hours after her birth. The novel uses an unconventional narrative, short meditations on the color white, to discuss grief, loss, and fragile nature of the human spirit. Kang describes total of 65 white objects in the book, including rice, sugar, cubes, breast milk. So these are the white color things around her. Okay, then Greek lesson. It was novel and it was published in 2011, and it was also translated by Deborah Smith and Emily Yaon. So in here we can see that a young recently mute woman begins to taking a class in ancient Greek language in an effort to reclaim language in some way. Her teacher, who is slowly going blind, draws closer to her over the course of the classes as they become more intimately connected, because they both have some disability. Intimately connected, they explore their inner pain, tension together. Then the next novel, it is not next, but it was published in 2002. Okay, so Your Cold Hands, it is also a novel, 2002. It was published in 2002. It is a dark psychological short story about an artist who sculpts with human bones and dividing into themes of obsession and detachment. Then Love of Yusu, her debut work. Here a short story collection, hence debut collection, capturing the complexities of human relationship in various short stories. Okay, her own complexities of relationship. Then The Black Deer, it was published in 1998. It is also a novel, a laser novel centered around the theme of alienation and social disconnection. So that's all, and I hope you like the explanation, not the explanation, you like the video, and you are interested to know more about her work. And I really like the summaries of her work. So please, if you like the video, please hit the like button, and if you have anything to say, you can comment on the comment section. Thank you for giving your time.